I got hacked 2 or 3 times.
Hey, bro, love.
Hey, welcome to the Sit Down. I'm your man, Rod Love, and we have an excellent show for you this evening. Hey, and I'm looking at my co-host, and I saw him earlier. He had one of the baddest brims on, and then all of a sudden he takes it off. But hey, like none other. Hey, Doc Polite, how you doing this evening, brother?
Hey, man.
There you go.
It is.
Hey, ain't no shame in wearing the doggone brim.
This bald head started itching with that thing. That was straw. So,
hey, Doc, you doing all right, man? How was your weekend?
Oh, it was great. How was yours, man?
Man, my weekend was great. And Doc, you're gonna hear some funny stories about my weekend with our guest that's on the show with us this evening. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring that in a little bit later. But once again, I just wanna, man, embrace and invite.
Wait a minute. Now we gotta let the people know what's going on, because the setup changed. Somebody missing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know what, Doc? I appreciate you doing that. One of our, I guess I'll say our partners in crime, Miss Shaquita Wynn, who's usually sitting in the chair that our guest is sitting in, she needed a little break with the grandkids. So she's off this week, enjoying herself, relaxing. And we told her, don't call us. We don't want to hear from you. Enjoy the family. And so, right. Hey, Doc, you're absolutely right, man. We got to recognize our
And I forgot, too, and I called her Friday night.
You called her?
Yep.
Hey, but you know, she always works.
I'm on vacation. I said, Rod, after 15 years with Rod, he finally gave you vacation.
After 15, okay. Now you make me, okay. I got you, Doc. I got you. Hey, but yeah, we missed Miss Wynn. But Doc, tonight, you and I, we got to do the heavy lifting. We got to represent.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because after that fact check the other week.
Oh, she fact checked us on the air. Yep. On air. So yeah, I'm just glad we were right.
We got to make sure that we on our P's and Q's.
Man, you're absolutely right. But hey, for those of you who are tuned in to the Sit Down is intended to bring you resources, bring you familiarity with what's taking place in the community, whether your organization provides services to individuals in your community. But this is a unique twist, and we're going to look at how do we do more of what you're going to hear about this evening. So once again, we want to welcome our listening audience. And for that number, if you want to dial in and ask some questions, make a comment, the phone number is 321-483-7002. And you know what? I'm not going to hold back any longer, Doc. Man, we have Mr. Jarell Roberts with Trinity Solar in the studio. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on here. Mr. Doc told me I had to come dressed to the nines, so I came in looking sharper than a tack. And
hey, I like that blend, man. You're doing your thing, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's going to make sales go up when we tell people what you do. But hey, Doc, sharp brother now.
Yeah, it runs in the family.
It runs in the family. I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
But Jarell, man, and I'm going to have Doc go ahead and weigh into this, because me and Doc was having a casual conversation, and Doc said, well, hold up, man, I think I may have a remedy for what you're dealing with. And so your name came into the sphere. You gave me a call. I didn't think it was going to amount to anything, but it just so happened that it amounted to a whole lot. And so, Doc, give some background to this, please.
Well, one of the things, everybody's paying more for less, it seems, these days. And right after COVID, everybody's utilities shot up. And I'm out here in the country. I got a good location. And, we got a community out here, and we have a Facebook group, a community group. And everybody started crying about their light bills and their power bills and stuff. And people out here where I'm at, they're paying $750, $800 a month for their light bill. Now, it's just me and my wife in the house, and ours went up to $350. I say, oh, man, I got to find a solution. So my mom told me, well, call Jackie, because Jackie got solar. Her and Sean. And for those who don't know, Jackie is married to my cousin Sean, and Jackie is his mama. So he's
Okay.
my cousin. So I call her and she said, "Yeah, let me get Jarell on the line." And boy, let me tell you, that was one of the smartest moves I ever did. Because now instead of having them $350 bills, my bill average about $84 a month for power.
Hey, and and
And
and Doc, let me tell you, and tell our listening audience, he telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Because when
you saw the
Doc
bill.
said that to me, I need those. How we talk. I needed a receipt,
Hey,
and when
Jarell,
Doc
he
sent me
made
a
me
copy,
he made me screenshot him the receipts.
hey, and it was the prior month bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he telling the truth.
So with the system, even with paying for the system and my light bill, I'm paying way considerably less than I would now because now my neighbors are still dealing with it's went up even more because our rate changed. So they're probably dealing with $1,100 light bills and stuff.
And none of that is sustainable. None of that is sustainable.
Exactly, exactly. So when I'm in here in the house in the daytime, I'm not paying for power. I'm not paying for. Matter of fact, I'm selling power back.
And here's the part where Jarell can navigate and start educating and providing information. But Jarell, before we even dive into it, how did you get into the business?
Oh man, this is a long story how I got here in the business, but yeah. So it started off. I was in Connecticut. That's where I started off. I was living in Connecticut. I was with another company, and one of my best friends, his name is Anthony DiGiacomo. He's probably watching right now. But he's the one who referred me to come to Trinity as he started working here about a few months before I started. He just said, "Hey man, like this is something that you would probably do well in because you are very personable. You like to talk to people. This is probably something that you do well in." And so I said, "Hey, you know what? Give it a try, give it a shot." And so within Connecticut, I did very well. I got to be a part of a loving community in New London, Connecticut, which showed me so much love. I devoted my time to the community, did a lot of work for the community, and I just made sure that what I was doing was for the people that I was serving, right? And so that is where, in any sales job that I've worked at, it made the most sense to be in solar sales at that time and currently now.
Gotcha.
Because I'm doing everything to help those who are in my community.
Connectivity to the community.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
So Jarell, I will say, I was navigating down this road, and I'm not going to mention any names or company, but I was looking at and exploring solar.
Yep.
And I've kind of dismissed it, man, over the years that, didn't know much about it. So I easily dismissed it. But as Doc, along with attorney Greg Jackson, we tell people about, we heavy on the politics side in
Yep.
terms of knowing who you vote for, no matter what their party affiliation. But I educated myself about solar.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took that step, and I wanted to make sure that I was making the right move and having a comparable.
Yep.
And man, when I called you, the rest was history. So with that, Jarell, can you tell people about this renewable energy piece?
Yeah. So essentially, like renewable energy has taken I would say, a rise, right? And so because of, as Doc Polite was saying, is the utility companies continue to climb, their rates continue to skyrocket, it's not sustainable for people to be able to continue paying for electricity that we need to have, right? We are all able to buy certain things at a cheaper cost and willing to do so. That's why there's a Walmart. That's why there's a Sam's Club. Mm-hmm. That's why there's a Costco, right? No one's going to buy all their canned goods from Publix.
You're right. You're right.
They're going to go to Walmart, right? And so that's where solar comes into play, because solar is a way to buy the same exact power that you're getting from the utility companies, whether it be Duke, FPL, or insert the 20 other utility companies that are here, and buy the power less, right? That same exact power that's coming to your home. And so that's where the beneficial aspect comes for the homeowner is, one, listen, we all have homes, right? We're all trying to find a way to be able to save on money, to be able to provide for the families that we serve.
Right. Right. Doc was hitting on this one point, and Jarell, we want you to take full advantage of this airtime. I'm going to continue to yell out and shout out Trinity Solar because people need to know about it. But here's a big piece. when you're talking about cost, people are curious about the difference in purchasing panels versus leasing panels. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so in terms of our differences in terms of how you can get panels placed on your home, whether you're purchasing it or leasing the panels themselves, but ultimately it has to be right for the person that I'm in front of, right? And so when I sit down with a lot of my homeowners, I'm asking certain questions to make sure what is the beneficial for the person in the home, right? You can't go off of what your neighbor did, right?
Right.
Because your neighbor doesn't have the same finances you do.
Same finances, and then they make square footage is different, a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, a lot of things are different in every single house. And solar is one of the things that doesn't go off the square footage of anybody's house, right? Solar goes off of the consumption that's in the home.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so, like, when you take a look at Doc Polite and his wife, there's just two people in the house, right? But maybe the same square footage in your home, but you got more people in your house. So you may draw more power. So the system cost, the system size is going to vary depending on the home itself.
Okay, and on that note, and see, this is where we do the balls and strikes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure, Jarrell's, I apologize. This is his first time here, because when we talk to the audience, Jarell, I know we're engaging, but people want to connect with you. So that red light is what you definitely want to speak to. But when you talk about Doc and his wife and the level of consumption of energy that they're using, and you take all of those factors in consideration, here's a fastball for you. Doc has some relatives that decide they're going to move in with them. So you got two more people there. How is that adjustment made when you talk about solar panels? What do you guys do when you know there's going to be an increase in consumption because the number of people in that home has changed?
Yeah, so like it depends on when it happens, right? And so like if someone's coming into the home, right? If we know that they're going to be there for a long time before the panels on the home, then we want to have that discussion. But if it's just a one-time thing, they're coming for the weekend or they're coming for the summer, then there's no need to change anything because your lifestyle is going to be the same and it's only going to change based off of when those folks come into town, right? But it all depends on the timing, right?
Gotcha. So Doc, what are a couple of questions that you had, man? Because I know we beat this to death the other day.
Yeah, you know me. I get into whatever I'm doing and I research it. So one of the things I know is that so explain the difference between the purchase and the leasing, because I went with the leasing options for a specific reason, and that was to avoid the cost of maintaining the system on myself.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Jarell.
Yeah. So the three options essentially that you can, but two really is what you kind of look at is owning the system or leasing the system, right? And so, like I said, it depending on the person's what they want to do. Okay. So owning the system outright, or you're taking out a loan, that is essentially going to be yours responsibility.
So if it breaks down, that's your responsibility.
Sometimes, right? And so like a lot of the companies will have certain things in place to be able to warranty the system for that time that you have it on, depending on how long that agreement is for. But the thing is that you have the debt that comes along with that loan, right? Whereas the lease is completely different, right? Because all the leases is you're just carrying over one utility company for the next. That's all you're doing, right? But ultimately, depending on what avenue you decide to take, it has to be right for you and not what someone else told you to do, right? So like, you know, Doc, lease might be good for you, or taking out a loan might be great for you because you might have a good tax appetite, right? I'm not a tax preparer, so you know, if you are going to take that route, I definitely recommend taking a look and talking to your accountants and stuff like that before making that decision. But either way, you know, having the lease option of it is more of the company taking the ownership of the system itself. So they take care of the maintenance, the warranties and stuff like that on the system. No deductibles were on those panels themselves. So it kind of benefits those who are fluid when in terms of moving or anything like that. If you're that person that's planning going to die in your home, you know, sorry to say, but then you can take a look at options of owning that system. But like I said, it all depended on the person in terms of where they are. You got to meet them where they are, right? Because everybody's finance is completely different.
Hey, you know, one of the conversations, Doc, you and I was having, and Jarell, I want you to weigh into this. When we're looking at the fact that it's unsustainable to look at energy bills that can fluctuate so much at the high end, And Doc, you and I had the conversation about people that are living on fixed incomes, and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that if you are entering into the solar panel market, you can almost plan a great deal better on that fixed income versus not.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this, man. I grew up right down the road, and these bills can't be the same bills my mom was paying
Oh yeah,
because these bills are crazy. I will go into people's homes, and doctor say he sees like 700. I've seen them too, right? And so when it comes to the fixed income aspect of it, right? Like if you know exactly what you're going to pay on a monthly basis, it makes it a lot easier, right? Like I don't know, you don't know what your electric bill is going to be in August, right? You can have a kind of an idea of what it's going to be around, but you might have family coming over. You might want to kick the pool on,
yeah.
have the pool filter running a lot longer. Then so now you're going to be paying more, but you don't know what that number is. So where solar panels come into play, having that fixed income or that fixed amount will
You're
allow
right.
you to plan ahead of time, right? And so the one thing a lot of people stray away from is like, oh, it's not good for me, but saving money is always good for somebody.
Good for everybody, and especially when
But
people are looking at the fact that utility bills, when you average them out over the course of 12 months, people are actually looking at the fact that that's a car note.
Yeah, 100%. You're
okay,
at the point where you're at some point in time, people are going to start choosing to pay their electric bill over food on the table,
Yeah.
right? And we can't be in a society like that. So, when I sit down with a lot of folks and I take a look at what they're currently doing and how and what they're looking to accomplish, especially those who are a little bit older, if we're retired. When you're retired, the only way that you get a raise in retirement is by buying less stuff. Right. And you're not going to buy less
Yeah.
milk. You're not going to buy less meat or anything like that. So you got to average out or find out where you can cut your costs. And that's where solar comes into play. Right. Because now you can say, hey, I don't need to purchase all my power from the utility company and have my increasing rates. And I now know what I can plan ahead because I know exactly what my monthly bill is going to be.
Jarell, good
and,
question.
and so hey,
Go ahead.
I want to put something up on the screen. I'm just gonna let them peek, and Jarell, you can kind of help explain this. So this is my dashboard.
Yep.
Now that's the beautiful thing about this, right? It comes with where you can monitor your energy consumption. So I only imported 3.2 kilowatt hours, and I produce 47.3, and the total of my consumption is 15.2, and I sold back 35, or it goes back. You get what I'm saying?
So Doc, when
So
you use the vernacular soul back, Jarell, this is the part
Yeah.
that people want to know about going back to the grid.
Yeah. So you're going to hear a lot of terms when you're sitting down with any solar company, they're going to talk about pushing power back into the grid, right? And so the one thing that the utility companies have allowed us here to be able to do is what's called the term of net metering, right? And so net metering essentially is the power that is produced in the house from solar panels. Whatever the excess amount that you're not utilizing gets sent back into the utility grid. So similar to like rollover minutes on your cell phone. You remember those, Doc?
Oh, yeah.
Use that
Oh yeah.
right? So just like that. So the amount of minutes that you bought in a month, whatever you haven't used, goes to the next month. And so that's essentially what the power going back into the grid means.
Hey, Doc, didn't tell me, man, you did comedy too.
So this is for the year. I've only spent like 55% of what my old bill would have been. So I basically cut it in half. So all of this is for the year. This is for the month. So for the month, I've only imported 215 kilowatt hours.
Hey, Doc,
See,
so you're showing us this in real time.
right. This is real time. It
Okay.
updates every 2 hours or so during the day. But on my phone now, it updates itself in real
Nice.
time. So I monitor and I check on it and everything. And I've had this as I when did I get this in 2022?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2022. So you're going on 2 years now.
Hey,
Yeah.
so Jarell, Trinity Solar, for anybody who actually purchased their panels through Trinity, you can go to your smartphone, your iPad, your computer, and actually look at your consumption?
Yeah, so you're able to monitor your system 24/7 utilizing either an app, be able to take a look in terms of what the system is doing. The cool thing is that we're also monitoring the system as well.
Okay.
There are times when the system may not be as producing as much because of the weather patterns and stuff like that. You might get a little bit of a shift for this couple of weeks or this week essentially with this air dust coming through.
Yeah.
So that can have a little bit of an effect in the amount of rain that we've been getting in the state.
Okay.
So
okay.
a lot of things can affect the solar panels, but everything is based off of the yearly consumptions.
So
today,
to the person that just sent a question, I'm gonna put their question in the background because I got my own right now, and I'm gonna bring that up. But Jarell, one of the questions that I have for you is, and Doc is showing us how this thing operates. So after a period of time, it generates credits with the utility company.
Yeah. So like everything has to. It's just like bringing back to the rollover minutes, right? And so when your system gets installed, it has to get time to catch up with your usage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's similar to like you charging your phone as you're using it at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't do that,
Gotcha.
right? Because it's never going to get that full charge.
Mm-hmm.
And so what the solar system does is that over the time, it'll catch up with your usage. Once it catches up to your usage, that's when you'll start to have an abundance of credits that are available to be able to send back to the grid, which will then can roll over month over month. But yeah.
Okay, so with that, go ahead, Doc.
With mine, like today, this is today's reading. I've only got 21% of my power today from the power company. 79% of it was generated with my panel.
Oh, by your panels. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm running off of that. So, that to me, that's all day. Now, because I don't have the storage system for the batteries at night, I run my off of the grid, but I can even knock that down because I can consume less. I don't have on all the lights and stuff during the day and things like that. So, it works real good for me. I mean, I'm very happy with the process. See, this just updated 5 minutes ago as we were talking.
Hey, Doc. So
it's in real time.
So Doc, that tab up top where it says, so it shows you over the lifetime, and it'll show you by month and by year, by week.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It shows you even the temperature outside on the system.
Okay, so what that shows me is this, because I didn't notice that. So if it's showing the temperature outside, for somebody like myself, that's telling me how hard my air conditioners work.
True.
Yeah. Right.
So Jarell, here's the other question I have for you. With the system, and I know Doc knows the answer to this question, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Because it generates credits after it catches up based on the way you explained it. The question is, are those credits used so that, okay, if I get a bill and I'm coming to the end of the year, can I use those credits to pay that utility bill? How does that work? Or do you get a check? I mean, people are just curious.
Yeah, so it all depends, right? And so right now, the utility companies have made a shift to be able to take the credits and then give you compensation aspect to it, right? Or whatever your system produces can take off of what you had to buy from them. Mm-hmm. In terms of to the point to where you get a deficit or not a deficit, then at that point it's up to the utility's discretion. What are they going to do at the end of the year?
Because that's the way it's a benefit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, the question that we got in, Jarell, was the question of a person said, okay, if I got solar panels and they mentioned that, okay, they're in the home and they decide to sell the home. What happens?
Yeah. So cool thing is just like the pool that you have in your backyard or the place that you don't want to take with you because it's too heavy, it stays with the home, right? And so the next person that's buying your house is now going to be able to benefit into the program that you started the house with, right? And so the selling factor is like, hey, now that I have a home that's energy efficient, you now know the power that that home is going to be able to produce, which is now what your electric bill is going to be. Now, if you have to buy any power, you being the new homeowner, and have to buy any power that the system is not giving you, then you're just buying the difference of that power from the utility company and not buying 100% of the cost.
Okay, so what happens to that contract of the original, the person?
Just transfers right over.
So
transfers right
okay.
over. Yeah, it makes a super seamless process, right? The transfer of the agreement to the next homeowner is easier than signing the documents to sell your house. So
then that's good.
Yeah.
Doc, you had
and,
something?
and that's a great benefit. A lot of
Yeah,
people will say, "Oh, well, I don't want solar." Yes, you do. Many people who say they don't want solar are actually ignorant to what solar is and what its real benefits are,
It,
because they've heard horror stories about solar people selling them, you know, refrigerator panels and getting up there and putting them on the roof and run off with the money,
yeah,
that
and
kind of thing. But you
you're
know,
right. There are some companies out there that are focused on greed, right? Just like inflation. The reason why there's inflation is because companies have greed, right? And so there are solar companies, or not. I wouldn't say some solar companies, but there are representatives of that solar company who are not looking out for the person that they're in front of, right? And so, not giving them the what actually solar is going to do for them, right? They're just giving them false information to be able to get the sale and then walk away,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's all about their pockets, not the person that they're in front of. And so that's the difference between when I go in front of somebody, because I'm looking at it as like, all right, I sit down with you, I'm looking at you as my family member. Most of my homeowners are probably watching, right? They are my friends on Facebook. Some of them know my kids. So like, I don't want myself to be in a position to be like, hey, you lied to me,
Yeah.
because now you're my family.
See, that's the difference. And to tell you the truth, that's what sold me. We asked a lot of questions.
Yep.
And your responsiveness was incredible. I mean, I'm gonna just tell you, you would text back, call back, but we were out there shopping. I mean, and
Yeah.
you understand the market, so that's kudos to you. But then the other side of this, and this is interesting. I have one of my friends that has been interested in solar panels, but they're interested in solar panels for a whole different reason than I was.
Yeah.
They own properties,
Yep.
and so now they're looking at the rent rates that continue to skyrocket,
Yep.
and then looking at actually putting solar panels on some of their properties and building it into the lease.
The lease, yeah.
I mean, I guess from a business side, that makes a difference too, because when you're leasing to people and to be able to tell them what the average range of that bill is going to be on a monthly basis. Right now, renters will go back and they'll go to the utility company or whoever's renting the property and ask, what's the average utility bill been?
Yeah.
Now a property owner can tell you you have the benefit of solar panels as well.
Yeah, and it makes it more of the marketable for the business owner, right? Because if anybody's taking out a lease to rent a property, especially if it's a nicer area, nicer home, right? That house is going to be more marketable because rent is included, or the electricity is included.
Correct.
Included, right? And so now I don't have to worry about it, because as you guys know, like in these areas now, the utility companies have skyrocketed, right? So having to pay more money for anything, right? It hurts. And some of these business owners might have to take the foot of the electric bill.
You're right.
So it's kind of makes it the most sense to be able to do in that regard to help those all around.
Hey, to the audience of the sit down, if you have any questions whatsoever for Jarell, hey, please call us at area code 321-483-7002. Hey, Doc, when you had something?
yeah, one of the things that I love about the solar deal is basically it's a fixed cost that I know every month. The fluctuation comes in with like you say, when the weather is bad, you can expect your bill to be a little bit more. And the highest I've had since I've had the system was $160 or $180, and come to find out, the reason was my AC unit. It had leaked all the freon, and so it was running hard, and and that was the thing. As soon as I got that fixed, boom, I'm right below $100 a month. So with the fixed costs, the monthly fixed rental costs, and everything, I'm good.
You're good, Doc?
I know what that's going to be, because one thing that is infuriating is um, how you watch prices just rise, and you're getting basically the same thing you paid less for a year ago, and it's crazy. Look at insurance.
Yeah.
Everybody's paying all this. They didn't change their property,
And it keeps going up, Doc.
and
Yep.
and it's nothing but greed. It's greed, greed, greed. And
Hey, Doc,
even huh?
we have about 17, 18 minutes, and I do this to my other co-host, Attorney Greg Jackson, to where Doc and we just start firing some questions because we want to make sure we get it in. You spoke about the difference between a lease and a purchase.
Yep.
Doc kind of alluded to this about how long are the warranties, and I guess there's a difference between the lease and the and owning. So can you speak to warranties on these?
Yeah, so with us, our leasing, and if you were to take out a loan or anything like that, I like to stay away from the loans. But in terms of the ownership model, you're looking at a 25 years on bumper to bumper, essentially, right? And so that's just the company will take ownership of that. So if anything happens to the system mechanically, we are going to be there to fix it for the 25-year agreement. And so that kind of stays along the way with both of the ways, the methods of purchasing. There's other companies that are completely different, right? And so some give you just the manufacturer warranty, which are usually less than what we are going to offer to our homeowners.
Okay. Hey, and Jarell, go ahead, Doc.
I got a question. Are these systems can they be upgraded or expanded?
Good.
So it upgrading and expanding. Dive a little bit deeper into that question.
Okay, when I say upgrade, can you upgrade it? Like if you say like we were talking about, somebody moves in long term, and can you add to your system?
Yeah, so you can add to the system, right? And so that's the benefit of it. You'd be anybody that was in the house prior to, or if you're in the home and then you just happen to have new additions to your family, right? So you can add panels to the system to be able to harness more power from the sun, to offset what you're buying from the utility company. In terms of upgrade aspect of it, right? If you're looking to upgrade the system, it's typically at the end of the term, right? Gotcha. And so a lot of times folks will say, I'll wait until like new technology comes out.
And I think you answered the question, because that kind of went back to, again, when I was saying if some relatives moved in.
Yeah.
So that answered that question, because you have the ability to expand solar panels. And I think you went over that with me and my wife when we had that. So that answers that question. But here's another good question that we just got. Person was saying, in the event that they have to replace their roof.
Yeah. Yeah. So replacing the roof, I mean, we all live in this beautiful state of Florida, and insurance can at any point in time, with anything, you have to replace your roof. So when it does come time to replace your roof, the one good thing about us is that we are a roofing company as well, right? So we will help homeowners in that regard to see what is needed to be done to be able to help replace your roof. We offer an amazing workmanship warranty on our roofing program. So our roofing program is that we have a 25-year workmanship warranty. So meaning that if anything happens to the shingles or anything like that, we're going to help cover it for that 25-year period of time. And not only that, your solar panels are also going to be protected for that same period of time as well.
Okay.
So what happens to the roof? Does solar panel cause roof damage? Because I've heard people ask this question, and so I'm going to ask it to you.
Yeah, so it's I would say not really, right? And so like I think a lot of the times folks are confusing the type of solar panels that actually damage in the roof, right? Yeah. And so you have what's called your pool solar, right? Yeah. Which is basically that black filament that goes on top of your roof and it has like PVC pipes. Those are typically the number one cause of roof leaks when it comes to roofing aspects of it. But just your electrical solar panel system generally is not a reason for causing leaks, right? But if there is, because it is rare, right? Just like COVID. But if it does happen, our company is warranting your home for 25 years. So if anything happens based off of the solar system being on there, we're the one that's covering the brunt of that.
Right? I'm glad you said that, because on one of my rental properties, the pool solar panels laid directly on the roof.
Yeah. Yep.
And when I've had, situations where they leak, my solar panels that are on my home that are electric solar panels, they're not laying directly on the roof. They're in a brace or something that's elevated off of the roof.
Yeah. So the solar, the pool solar there's water going through those PVC pipes, and what they do is they drill directly into the PVC pipes into your roof. So there's constant water flowing on your roof, right? And so over time, right, we're in a state that has a lot of heat. So the PVC will brittle. They'll get to the screws, and then will leak inside someone's home or to their attic. But generally with solar panels, as long as you have the right installer doing the work, you should not have that problem.
Yeah, because
That question was pretty.
mine is all electric, so I don't even have any water
Yeah.
Yeah.
up there. So yeah, but what about maintenance? What kind of maintenance do the homeowner need to do pull on it?
Yeah, generally the maintenance solar systems are generally maintenance free, right? But
Hmm.
unfortunately, this past spring we had a lot of pollen, and so a lot of times, what folks will go up there and spray them off. You have some companies that will come out there and do like a soft wash, which that they utilize a chemical that is okay for the system itself, so it doesn't damage it or discolor it. But generally, they're usually maintenance free.
So
right? So water, it rains here almost every day.
okay. So if the pollen builds up on that, how do the consumer, or will it show up in the, I guess, the monitoring of it?
No, it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect pollen. Does not affect the
Okay.
the system itself. Just because one, it's not enough to deteriorate the energy coming through the system itself. If we were up north where you have snow, right? I mean, if you get 6 inches of snow on your solar panels, they'll still be able to produce.
Oh,
right. So
okay.
worrying about panels that have pollen on it, we're not. It's more of the aesthetic aspect of it.
Gotcha.
Having that green or yellow look on your top of your roof, on top of the black panels. That's where most people will feel at ease.
Jarell, here's the big question everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
What are some of the different financing options that are available?
Yeah, so I mean, there are financing in terms of taking out a 25-year agreement for a loan. You can go with the cash route if you have that option. But those are generally the two. I mean, the years in terms of what's available, whether it be depending on the years that you want. I mean, we have a gamut of different options available to people. But it's dependent on your circumstances, your financial circumstances, of what makes the most sense for the person that I'm in front of.
So, one of the other questions, I think Doc kind of touched on this a little bit, and I guess it varies. I mean, it varies based on usage, varies based on the number of people in the home. But one of the punch questions that we have for you was, how much can a person expect to save on their energy bills?
It depends. It really depends, because the way that systems are designed is based off of the placement of someone's house, how much power is needed for that home. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of variation. So there's not like a one cost kind of a thing that goes along with how much it's going to save you. Yeah. Right? Because it can be different from anybody's area. Some people can save anywhere from 8%. Some people can save anywhere from 40%.
Gotcha.
Right? So I don't know. It all depends on the house. It's not dependent on the person. It's dependent on the placement of your home.
Doc, you got a couple of questions too.
Yeah. My next question is, what are the different types of panels? Is it just one size fit all, or what?
No, so there's multiple different manufacturers that make solar panels, similar to like your car manufacturers. You have Honda, BMW, but in the solar industry, you have panels like Q-cell panels, which is the one that we utilize. You'll have Jinko's panels. You'll have Panasonic, just to name a few. Canadian Solar is another one that has their own panel. So there's a difference in solar panels that are out there. In terms of saying what's the best, it really doesn't really matter, because it's all based off of what that installer has in stock, right? Or what that installer is able to sell, because based off of solar panels is what that company is able to have in their warehouse.
And then how do y'all determine how many panels you need? Because that was interesting to me. I was like, I think I got 24.
Yeah, so everything is based off of your usage. So we take a look at your electric bill, see how much power you're utilizing in a year. We'll take a look at your consumption. The one thing about everybody's consumption is that habits don't change, right? And so if your habit on your 12 months is always going to be the same. The only time that will change is something drastic happens, right? Somebody moves in for a year, your AC unit goes down, right? Or somebody moves out. Is generally why someone's electric consumption in a year will change. But that's how we design the system, is based off of that. That's why it's not a one size fits all. every single home is going to be completely different. It's going to be tailored directly to the people that are living in the house.
Got you. Hey, Doc, that was a good question, but to piggyback on that, Jarell, can you speak to the fact that there's legislation, the energy companies also fight for legislation to make sure that they stay in business as well? Isn't it a limit to how much, I guess, legislatively or by law a home can produce?
Yes and no. So like in terms of what a house can produce, the utility company or the state of Florida put a limit in terms of how much a house can produce at one given time based off of system size.
Okay.
When you go over a certain system size, the state of Florida requires homeowners to purchase what's called an umbrella policy, so $1 million liability policy to cover if in the event that you push too much power into the grid. A lot of the utility companies just get afraid to think that extra power to the grid can destroy their transformers, right? And I've sold in many other states, and no other utility company in the states that I've sold in have had that caveat when you get a bigger size system based off of what you need in your house.
So, and I'm glad we're here now. For a consumer, if you want a larger system, you have to realize up front that you you will have to increase your policy.
Correct. And it's not something that we can control, right? It's the state of Florida. It's their laws that we have to abide by. We definitely do work with a lot of homeowners and help them navigate through that process. But ultimately, it's, if you're using that much power, it's still may way to do that and get that policy because it's going to help you in the long run.
Hey, here's an interesting question. What happens if the solar panels don't produce the expected amount of energy? So,
yeah, I mean, like, we're in a state where we're closer to the equator. In terms of the system will never produce the same on every year basis, right? Because the weather patterns control what the system can produce, right? And so, like, in any agreement, right, it's more in terms of we're going to make sure that the system actually works and it is going to produce power for the home, right? Okay. Now, if it doesn't, for some odd reason, deviates a lot, then there means there's something wrong with the equipment, right? Okay. There might be something wrong with a portion of the equipment where we need to come out and fix it, and that's usually what I would say oh my gosh, I'm losing my words here.
So who would trigger that? With the consumer, or would you guys from
the homeowner will know before we know,
okay,
because they'll get that higher bill.
Gotcha.
Right. So like with Doc got his higher bill, right? It wasn't due to the solar panels, but he noticed something was wrong. He got a higher bill during the time of the year, okay, right? And typically when you see a high bill, I would strongly recommend that you take a look at your system performance, because everybody has an app, or they'll be able to go on their computer to see what the system is producing to make sure that the system is actually producing. If it's not, then for us, we reach out to either myself or any member of my team, and then we'll send a service call, and there's no deductible fee, right? Because we're the ones who are going to maintain and monitor that, or maintain the system for that 25 years.
Let me tell this quick story. I was mentioning this to you. For those, some people don't believe I get out and do yard work sometime. I do. And okay, Doc. Thanks a lot, Doc. I do.
I've seen your yard. You don't have that much.
But it's tranquil for me. It's tranquil. But this past weekend, I was in the backyard doing a little yard work, and I went up to the meter, the solar meter, and I saw the arrow going to the left. And so I went on my phone and I Googled. I was like, what does it mean if the meter arrow is going left or going right? And man, anywhere you Google, it'll tell you.
Yeah.
If it's going right, that means you're consuming. If it's going left, you're sending power back to the grid. And so I looked and I saw power going to the left, going back to the grid. And so I finished up what I was doing in the backyard, and it was probably 20 minutes. Went back and I looked at the meter again, and it was going back to the right. And I was like, God dog it, I want to be sending power back to the grid. So and Doc showed the app. I got to tell you, I'm impressed. And again, I can't stress enough. Trinity Solar, Jarell, you're accessible. And matter of fact, what is the contact number for you?
Yeah, so anybody can reach me at 422-9168. Or if you're watching this live, you can click on my name, add me as a friend. Send me a PM if you're DM if you want to have a sit down. No pun intended. But
That's a good one. I like that.
But process is super simple. I just come out to see if your house can even qualify. I'm not here to pressure anybody to do something they don't want to do. It's more of educating everybody on how it works. If it makes sense, then I'll be able to help you move forward with the process. But yeah, that's really about it.
What do people need to have available because you go out to the home and sit with them? What do they need to have available for?
Electric bill and a smile on their face. Really, that's all I ask for.
Electric bill, a smile on the face.
Yeah.
I want to get power storage, battery storage, some kind of way, but the cost is prohibitive right now. But the technology is always changing. Can you add that?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely add it down at a later time. We do offer power storage as well to anybody. So if anybody lives in an area that has a high output area, if you live on the coast or in the middle of the state where you lose a lot of power, I definitely have options to be able to help you with the batteries that we sell. So definitely able to package all together to help, which is definitely a benefit. A number of my homeowners have it and benefit from it. So,
Jarell, so you'll speak to individuals, but you also go out and speak to groups as well.
Yeah, we definitely speak to groups. So we have a great program here at Trinity. It's our stewardship program. So there's a lot of communities out there, not-for-profits or even for-profits. We definitely do have things to help those to achieve their goals as well. So if any nonprofits that are out there looking to help their constituents, definitely reach out to me and I'll get you in contact with my.
I'd highly encourage faith-based organizations, civic organizations. Please reach out to Jarell. Jarell, one last question for you. Your region, because I'm familiar. I know you do Orange County. You were over in Lake County with Doc with Fruitland Park. What's your region?
Man, I've driven anywhere from north of Port Orange all the way down to Sun City. If you don't know where Sun City is, neither do I. I drove there one time.
That's South Florida.
That's South Florida. Hey, Jarell,
it's right on the edge of the Everglades.
To our listening audience, please, just from an informational, educational perspective, if you want to look at how you can better manage your energy bills, give Jarell a call. It won't cost you anything for him to come and sit down with you. Hey, mention that you saw it on the sit down so Jarell can go ahead and make sure he get them numbers right, no matter where you come from. But civic organizations, faith-based organizations, individuals, call Jarell and he will sit down with you and walk you through this process. Jarell, man, thank you for coming on the sit down. We appreciate it, but you're bringing a different twist. We're talking about affordability. As Doc mentioned before, it's just not sustainable to see those energy bills continue to rise. And once again, thank you for joining us on the sit down. You're always welcome, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Doc.
Hey, you're welcome.
Trinity Solar, and call Mr. Jarell Roberts. Please call Jarell Roberts, and that phone number once again is 321-422-9168. Doc, what you got to close us out with?
Well, we're gonna rock and roll on the next show. I can't wait.
And we're gonna rock and roll on the next show. We gotta mention on Let's Talk Nation, we're gonna bring up Trinity Soul as well, and that's with the General Attorney Greg Jackson. Hey, Jarell, man, we appreciate it once again. And you know what, Doc, we didn't get embroiled in a in-depth battle this evening, so I'm real happy. I'm real happy for that. But once again, man, you're always welcome to sit down.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you didn't rush me off today.
I didn't rush you off.
See,
hey, tell you what.
When I get the best of him, Jarell, he started rushing me.
Hey, that's my cue to say we'll see you next week on the sit down. And once again, Trinity Solar, Jarell Roberts. Hey, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week on the sit down.